So, for example, if I ask you to introduce yourself, if I'm a beginner, I'll say, "Hello, I'm Namita, I'm a teacher." Now, as an advanced English language learner, I'll convey the same message and pique your interest. So, how I would say this is, "Hello."
What would be your first tip for all my viewers for becoming an advanced English learner?
So, I have seen some of them become from beginner, absolute beginners, to advanced learners. And these are the four things that I found common in all of them. Hi, Meenu. How are you?
I'm great. Tell me, how are you?
I'm absolutely fine. So good to meet you again.
Yeah, same here. Please introduce yourself because so many viewers are seeing you for the first time.
Sure, Meenu. Hi, everyone. I'm Namita. I'm co-founder and Chief Learning Officer of Sparky. I have been an English educator for the last 15 years. I've taught in India. I've taught in the US. Before starting Sparky AI, I was working with another company called Lead School, where I was heading their curriculum, and English was the curriculum that I worked on a lot, and it is currently being used by over millions of learners across India. I'm really excited to be here and having this conversation with you, Meenu, and talking more about Sparky and the topic that we have today.
So today's topic is how to become an advanced English speaker. Who do you think is an advanced English speaker?
Even when I used to talk to learners or parents of learners, everybody would be like, how do I become an advanced English learner or English speaker? So I would always start with defining who is an advanced English learner. So I think let's start with that definition. An advanced English language learner is someone who can talk about any topic, familiar or unfamiliar. So that means they are very good in their general knowledge, general awareness. The second is the kind of vocabulary words that they use are not just big vocabulary words, but they are meaningful vocabulary words. They are very appropriate. They convey the message without you speaking really long sentences. The third is they speak without making grammar mistakes. When they are speaking in a sentence, they are not just telling you an information. Let me take an example. So, for example, if I ask you to introduce yourself. So now when I ask you to introduce yourself, you are, say, if I have to introduce myself, if I'm a beginner, I'll say, "Hello, I'm Namita, I'm a teacher." If I am an intermediate learner, I would say, "Hello, I'm Namita, I work as an English teacher and I've been working for over 15 years. Now, as an advanced English language learner, I'll convey the same message and pique your interest. So how I would say this is, "Hello, I'm Namita, an English teacher from India." So I'm speaking more concise. I've been teaching English for the last 15 years. I'm deeply passionate about teaching English because I think English is an important skill that will help my students get better colleges and better jobs. This is what keeps me really passionate. Now, what has happened is I've not only conveyed my message as an advanced English learner, I've also piqued your interest in me, that you would want to know more about me. And that is what an advanced English learner is supposed to do.
But most of the people think that the people who are using very fancy words and fancy phrasal verbs, they are the advanced English speakers. That is
a very flawed definition. By just using fancy words, I don't know, it's reminding me of, there was this old Hindi movie where Amitabh Bachchan says, "I can talk in English, I can walk in English," because English is a very funny language. Okay. So the point is, it's not about speaking big fancy words or using really, that is something thesaurus can also do for you. There is a feature called thesaurus. But that's not what an advanced English language learner is. English language learner is immensely knowledgeable, not just in grammar or vocabulary, but about general topics.
You mean they have a lot of knowledge? They have knowledge about various topics.
Exactly. They have knowledge about various topics. So practicing English is not enough. You need to build your general knowledge, general awareness on topics, on different topics. And, of course, a beginner will always start with something that they know. So like family or friends. And then slowly, we need to move to a place where, say, for example, we are talking about climate change, which is such a burning topic. But talking about that, everybody knows about climate change. So, for example, a beginner would say, climate change is bad. But that's something we all know.
Yeah.
But an advanced learner will be able to add more details to it, that what can you do about it or what can I do about it to reduce the effect of climate change. So that's the difference between a beginner and an advanced learner?
Every year, many language learners struggle with gaining confidence in speaking English. Most of the English speaking apps have a question answer format that works on building vocabulary. However, to speak in English fluently needs practice. But finding a good, affordable English speaking partner is one of the most common struggles faced by language learners. But imagine if you had access to a native English speaker who is non-judgmental, affordable, and you can talk to them at any time you wanted. Here's a solution for you. Introducing Sparky, your voice-first AI English speaking buddy. Sparky is a native English speaker you can talk to about anything based on your interest and will give you feedback on your spoken English. And guess what? It is much more affordable than going to a tutor. Let's see how it works.
Hi Nami. I am your interview prep buddy. What kind of job are you aiming for?
Hello. Would you like me to speak faster or slower or in a different style?
Hello. Would you like me to Hello. Would you like me to speak faster or slower or in a
I am looking for government job. Can you help me?
That's great, Nami. I can definitely help you with finding a government job. What specific kind of government job are you interested in?
I want to be a teacher. So, can you tell me about the qualification?
Are there any specific subjects you're interested in teaching?
Yeah, the demo was great and it can really help them on their journey of becoming an advanced English learner. I request all of you to just download this app. You will get the link in the description of this video and you can take the 6 months plan. That would be the cheapest, right?
Right, absolutely. The longer the plan, it's even less than 100 rupees a month.
Correct.
Right. And imagine you're getting feedback from a native English speaker in an accent of your comfort, at a pace of your comfort. You can be on it whenever you want. And it's available to you 24/7. And
Yeah.
it's such an affordable rate. Sometimes our tutors are not available to us at any given point.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are not able to afford them as well. So I think that way Sparky plays a very important role in helping you get that daily dose of English language.
Correct.
So there are these 4 pointers which we will discuss. Now let's talk about Sparky. So Sparky is, imagine that native English speaker who you can speak to on any topic. So there are topics that Sparky suggests, and then there are topics that you can suggest. So that flexibility is given to the learners. If you're going with Sparky's choice, so Sparky will start with topics that are familiar to you. And then slowly, based on how you're adapting to it, what it will do is it will accordingly make the level advance and ask you, say, for example, it will start by asking you to introduce yourself because you know about yourself. Then let's talk about your family, your friends, and then move to unfamiliar topics like, come on, let's write a creative story together. Or, let's discuss about music. Let's talk about some of the other topics which you may not be very familiar with. And then moving on to let's talk about, say, climate change. And every time you're talking to Sparky, it will give you feedback because the benefit of talking to a native English speaker like Sparky is that it is giving you feedback. So if you are making, say, an error while speaking, it will give you feedback. Also, there are enough support pieces. So there is a help button. So in case you don't know what to say, it will give you some hints that you can say this or you can say that in order to keep the conversation going. And the third is dictionary is very important because building vocabulary while you are speaking to me or I'm speaking to you, if we don't understand something, imagine having the ability to just double tap on something, a word, and see, oh, this is what it means. Here is an example for it. Something that we have recently launched is also accent. Some learners are not comfortable with American accent. So we have also launched Indian accent.
Yeah, there are so many people who say that Sparky is amazing. The only problem that we have is its accent. So now they can speak with it in Indian accent.
Right, in Indian accent. And they can also adjust the pace of Sparky.
Okay.
So if they're not okay with the default pace, they can choose to make it slower or they can choose to make it faster.
What would be your first tip for all my viewers for becoming an advanced English learner?
Sure. I have jotted down these 4 tips based on my experience of teaching English language learners and how I have seen, because I've been doing this for the last 15 years. So I have seen some of them become from absolute beginners to advanced learners. And these are the 4 things that I found common in all of them. Okay. The first one is listening. And I think it's so powerful and absolutely discounted at times because we are so much focused on speaking that we don't take a pause in listening. And I just don't mean listening to conversations. I mean listening to, nowadays you have these talk shows, podcasts, listening to, say, on YouTube, there's so many channels where, they have these information about general, current affairs, general awareness, basically listening to things that will help you build your knowledge, build your general awareness. So it's very important to listen, and it is also important what you are listening. Right. And the third thing, who you are listening to. So it is not only about listening to English podcasts. Of course, that is very important, but also listening to podcasts that are in English, but helping you build your general awareness. Because to be an advanced learner, you need to be able to have opinion about or know more things to talk about. Right. Otherwise, how much will you talk about just yourself?
Correct. If they just keep listening to stories, that will not make them advanced English speakers. That can help them a bit in the beginning.
Correct. That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But for adult learners, in order to accelerate their learning, it's important that what kind of knowledge pieces are they listening to? Because, of course, adults also don't have a lot of time. So just being very particular about, say, news pieces or articles or finding a topic that you are passionate about. Say, for example, I'm really passionate about traveling. So I follow this travel vlogger and I listen to their podcast. I listen to anything that they're saying. Even if it's on YouTube, I put on my headphones. I don't necessarily see it, but I keep listening into what they are saying, build my knowledge about different places. So listening and what you're listening is very, very important.
Correct. They can watch English news. In news also very good English is used.
Absolutely. As a young kid, my father used to make us watch English. That time there were no channels. Like we didn't have these Hazar channels that we have nowadays. That time we used to only have the Doordarshan. Of course, I'm giving away my age now. I'm really old. But we had this DD news, and my father was like, the best way to build your pronunciation is by watching English news. Because their pronunciation is like, to know the corrects, like I didn't know like ASEAN is called ASEAN. I learned it from the news. So I think English news is very important.
While watching news, you are gathering knowledge, you are getting the pronunciation, you are learning new phrases and everything. So that is a very effective way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a great audiovisual content, or you can just listen to it also. You don't even need to just watch it. You can also just listen to it. Right. So that is one. I think listening is very important, and create like your playlist. Nowadays, all of us are on Spotify or on some or the other listening app. So please create a playlist that you would want to listen to that adds value to your life, of your interest, so that you can talk more about different things. So that is one. The second is receiving feedback is very important. Many of your learners would have already, or viewers would have already heard, or like a broken record, that प्लीज अपना डेली प्रैक्टिस करिए, डेली प्रैक्टिस करिए, डेली प्रैक्टिस करिए. बट क्यों जरूरी है डेली प्रैक्टिस? एंड डेली प्रैक्टिस नॉट जस्ट विद एनीवन, डेली प्रैक्टिस विद अ पर्सन हु इज नॉलेजेबल और अ नेटिव स्पीकर.
Correct.
बिकॉज तभी आपको वैल्यू ऐड होगा, वरना देयर इज नो वैल्यू ऐड टू योर लाइफ.
Yeah.
If I speak broken English, you speak broken English, then it's like two
Then
broken
there is
English
no
speakers are talking
point,
together.
yeah.
There's no point. So,
Right.
and why is it important to talk to that English speaker, native English speaker? Is because they will give you feedback. They are giving you feedback in two ways. One is by just role modeling or showing you how you can speak like them. That is one. Because just listening to them, just following them, and that's something we've noticed a lot with Sparky, because Sparky is a native English speaker. It's designed to be a native English speaker. So irrespective of how you speak, we have so many learners who speak in broken English. Sparky is able to stitch them together to make a meaningful sentence. And that is its way of making it a meaningful sentence and building on it. So it is role modeling to you that how you can do this the next time. And we are already noticing, Meenu, that अगर एक learner 3 महीना spend करता है time almost 3 to 4 times in a week, 10 से 15 मिनट स्पार्की के साथ हर बार, so से कम 1 से 1.5 घंटा अगर वो हफ्ते भर spend करते हैं, we are noticing that the users at the end of 3 months are making 30% less grammar mistakes.
That's great.
And yeah, and the second thing we are noticing is they are speaking longer sentences. We are noticing 200 to 500% increase in the number of sentences spoken or the words spoken per sentence. And it's so organic that, by just talking to Sparky. But one thing we noticed was कि consistently बात किया उन्होंने.
Tell me one thing, when it corrects the sentences, does Sparky show them the incorrect sentence as well as the correct sentence?
So right now, because the incorrect sentence is already there on the screen, so when you talk to Sparky, everything that the Sparky says and the user says is on the screen. So what Sparky does is it says, did you mean to say this? So the incorrect sentence is already there for the user. So it is also important how we are giving feedback, yes. But what you just mentioned is a feature that we are building and working towards, that at a user reply level. So if I said something to Sparky and I want to know that how did I do on grammar in this, very soon, in I think in a month's time, we will be having this feature where you can click on it and you can see what is the correct way of saying it and what were the mistakes that you made.
So what the learner had said and what Sparky has changed it into.
Correct. Yes. Along with the highlighted mistakes also. So that they can keep this in mind for the future. Like one of the very common mistakes is I didn't knew. I didn't went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reading, getting feedback. So speaking to a native speaker is very important because to receive feedback. Now the third is reading. So listening, as much important it is to listen. Reading is, I think, one of the most powerful ways of becoming an advanced learner. Now again, just like in listening, you need to be very mindful of what you're listening to. Same way in reading, you need to be very mindful of what you're reading. So reading newspapers, reading books, reading magazines, basically more real non-fiction. Fiction is also important, of course, fiction novels you can read, but I think starting off with non-fiction, real world, because you are able to build your general knowledge about things that are happening around you is very important. In order for you to feel confident, a lot of times we don't speak in office, for example, on a topic because we don't know enough about it or we don't know what to add to it.
Reading is very powerful.
Exactly. Reading is extremely powerful because it helps you become aware of things that you don't know. and you're able to then hold a conversation around it. So reading will also give you that confidence. Second is reading has these sentence structures, these words that you can, if you don't know, and this is where I come to my fourth tip, using dictionary. So whether you are listening, whether you are speaking to a native speaker, or you are reading, always keep a dictionary handy. Now, whether it's a digital dictionary, now there are enough apps that are out there. Even actually in Sparky, we have built this. So for example, if Sparky is talking and the user doesn't know a word that Sparky said, User can actually long press on that word. Say, for example, the word that Sparky used to say, enrich. The user can long press on that word, enrich. It will open up the dictionary. It will tell the meaning of enrich. It will give a sentence where enrich is used, or how enrich is used. And if they want, they can save that word, and they can later on revisit. Like they can create their personal dictionary with Sparky.
That's amazing. They don't need to go to Google and find that word.
They don't need to go to Google to find meaning. Okay. So in the conversation, to not break the flow of the conversation, all of this support is provided to the learner there and then. Yes,
that's great.
Absolutely,
that's amazing.
So, and if they're not talking to Sparky, and if they are listening or reading something, at that point, keeping dictionary alongside is very important. Like, I think when you are doing, or when you really want to build your English language, you need to create in your schedule, daily schedule or weekly schedule, a time block like 30 minutes English time. And during that time, think of it like you're setting, like the way we used to do when we were a student, in my room, on my desk, talking to Sparky for 10 minutes, 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of reading, and, going through dictionary words. Right, I think that kind of discipline is required if you want to be an advanced learner. And consistency is required. So all of these 4 tips are great, but if they're not done consistently, and what I mean by consistency is you decide your consistency. Like when we go to gym, we decide that, अगर ट्रेनर बोलता है 7 दिन आना पड़ेगा, तब तो वो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है, हो ही नहीं पाएगा. बट इफ वी क्रिएट अ शेड्यूल एंड से कि अच्छा ठीक है, आई विल कम फॉर 3 days, या फिर चलो शुरुआत में 2 दिन से शुरू करते हैं 2 दिन से शुरू करते हैं, आधा घंटा,
राइट,
एंड देन ग्रेजुअली इंक्रीज करते हैं. दैट सीम्स मोर फीजिबल, बट इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू कीप शोइंग अप कि मैंने 2 दिन बोला है तो मैं 2 दिन तो करूंगी.
धीरे-धीरे प्रैक्टिकल गोल्स एंड देन स्टिक टू देम.
Absolutely. Otherwise, all of these tips are great knowledge pieces. Forget about it. So it is very important, and it's okay. अगर पहले दिन आप 1 हफ्ता नहीं कर पा रहे हो, मतलब आप कर रहे हो लेकिन समझ में नहीं आ रहा, बोर्डम हो रहा है, it's okay. Right. But it is important to get started. वो जो first step होता है ना, that is difficult to take.
Yes.
And once you've taken that first step, आपने सबसे मुश्किल काम तो कर लिया. So these were the 4 tips: listening, getting feedback, reading, and using dictionary. Because all of this will help you become knowledgeable, will help you become better in your vocabulary, will help you become better with your grammar. And if you are able to achieve these 3 things, you're already on your path to be an advanced learner. But do these things consistently. Right. Otherwise, nothing can help you.
Nothing will happen. If you are on a weight loss journey and you are not consistent, you are exercising one day and taking a break for 5 days, nothing will happen. Same way here also, nothing will happen.
Correct. Consistency is key, and don't lose hope. Don't lose your heart. A lot of times we set, like you mentioned about setting up realistic goals. That is, I think, very loosely we say it, but that is so important. If we don't set realistic goals and हम starting से एक unrealistic goal बना लेते हैं, 1 महीने में हमको एक advanced learner बनना है. आप ये सोचो, we studied in school for 12 years, then we went to college for 3 years, some went to 4 years, some went for 5 years. उसके बाद भी अगर हमारी knowledge, we are still learners. So English is, think about it, English is a skill for life.
Correct.
And आप जब skill एक life में lifelong skill सीखते हो, तो आप, मैं ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने आज रीडिंग करना छोड़ दिया just because I am proficient in English. I still read every day because it's a continuous process.
Correct. I also even read today. Sometimes books, sometimes newspaper, sometimes even blogs. Sometimes I type some topic of my interest and then I read the blogs. So
absolutely,
if you just have a phone in your hand, then also you can read.
Absolutely. So I somehow feel it's not something that class 10th pass करके class 11th पे चले गए. It's a continuous journey.
Yes.
And you need to be deeply passionate about it. कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है. Truly believe कि this is going to give me benefit throughout my life. So if it is going to give you benefit throughout your life, then आपको उस हिसाब से इसको treat करना पड़ेगा. कि अपनी लाइफ में आप इसको कहाँ इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो. Just एक टच पॉइंट will not be enough.
इतना ही पढ़ना चाहिए, इतना ही करें जितना में इनको मजा आ रहा है, you know. And the topics should also be of their interests. If they start reading about something that they don't like, they should enjoy the journey. If they are not enjoying, they will
Absolutely.
definitely leave it.
एब्सोल्युटली हाँ बचपन में जब वो कोर्स बुक्स पढ़ते थे तो तभी तो इंग्लिश आई आई समहाउ फाउंड इट वेरी बोरिंग बिकॉज आई एम लाइक कि एक तो लैंग्वेज नहीं आती है दूसरा ये कितना बोरिंग है अब वही कॉमिक बुक्स पकड़ा देते थे तो फटाफट पढ़ लेते थे सो आई थिंक इट्स द सेम वे
Yeah,
start off with something that you are interested in.
Correct.
It could be about anything.
Yeah.
And then as you get confident, as you start, it's language starts speaking your interest, start reading things that you are passionate about. You don't have to necessarily be aware about everything, but it is important that finding your passion and knowing enough about it so that you can talk enough about it. And that is the true mark of an advanced learner.
So Sparky can help them on this journey. You all should download this app. And I have also used this app. This is really amazing. Please download this app from the link given in the description and take the 6 months plan. So Namita,
Yes.
thank you so much for all these tips. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Meenu. I'm really excited to see your viewers on Sparky and interacting with them, seeing their conversations with Sparky and helping them become advanced learners.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope they will all be benefited from these tips.
I definitely hope that that happens.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye. Take care, Meenu.
Take care.